Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a sinking ship? Join us as we dive into this chilling reality and discover how to survive the worst-case scenario. While ship sinkings are rare, they do still happen. In this video, we'll explore what you might experience if left behind on a sinking ship and share crucial tips to increase your chances of survival. If you find this video interesting, please support us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Now, let's get started. Imagine a ship, the largest passenger vessel in the world at its time, boasting the latest technology and deemed unsinkable. On its maiden voyage, departing from a British port and heading towards New York, a major accident occurred. Shockingly, the ship ultimately sank after hitting an iceberg, resulting in the loss of more than 1,000 lives. More than 1,000 people perished, making it the worst maritime disaster in history at that time. Now, many people might think of the Titanic. However, the real Titanic was sailing in the opposite direction, from Britain to New York. The story I just described was actually written in a novel published in 1898, 14 years before the Titanic sank. Although these are coincidences, the sinking of the ship and the fear experienced by those left behind are not just fictional events. If you were to face the fate of a sinking ship, what would you experience, and how could you increase your chances of survival? And how can the worst-case scenario be avoided? This time, I would like to introduce what happens if you are left behind on a sinking ship. Ship sinkings are not just historical events, they still happen in modern times. In fact, from 2020 onwards, excluding sinkings due to combat actions, at least 6 sinking incidents have occurred. While most of these involve small boats, there have been cases where ships exceeding 300 feet, similar to the Titanic, have sunk. The causes of sinkings are also varied. Generally, the larger the ship, the more resistant it is to bad weather. In the case of the Titanic, it is believed that the ship hit an iceberg, causing gaps between the plates of the hull through which water entered. The interior of the Titanic was designed to withstand such incidents by being divided into 16 compartments, of which up to 4 could flood without causing a problem. However, during the accident, 5 compartments were breached, and the so-called unsinkable ship sank quite quickly. Even in recent years, the sinking of large ships is not merely a work of fiction. In 2012, the Costa Concordia, a ship with a length of 950 feet, which surpasses the Titanic, partially sank. Ironically, this accident occurred exactly 100 years after the Titanic disaster, resulting in the loss of 32 lives. Moreover, in 2014, the Sewol ferry in South Korea, carrying many school students on a field trip, sank, and 304 out of 476 people lost their lives. While the direct cause of the sinking is known, overloading and sudden direction changes are suspected. A characteristic of this accident is that many students were instructed to stay in place, leading to a large number of people being unable to escape from the rapidly flooding ship. What would you experience if you found yourself left behind on a sinking ship? Generally, large ships tend to sink slowly over several hours. For example, it is estimated that the Titanic took 2 hours and 40 minutes, while the Sewol ferry took about 2 hours and 30 minutes to sink. In wartime, there was the German battleship Bismarck, which sank in just 40 minutes after being torpedoed, but in peacetime. It is generally safe to assume that it takes several hours for a large ship to sink completely. Therefore, at first, you might only notice that the table is tilted, not feeling much danger. In fact, during the Titanic and Sewol ferry incidents, few people initially recognized the crisis. This delayed judgment could mean the difference between life and death. Large passenger ships take hours to sink because of their massive size, but this does not mean a peaceful situation for individuals. In some places, water might pour in like a fountain. Furthermore, the lower decks, where sunlight does not reach, make it difficult to respond calmly as the ship tilts and water encroaches. If you are left behind, your survival depends on luck. You need to hope that there is air remaining in your compartment, that you are in a location where rescue can come quickly, and that the ship does not sink too deep. If the compartment you are in becomes completely flooded, unfortunately, your chances of survival are extremely low. During the Sewol ferry incident, many students who failed to escape were found in a heartbreakingly tragic state. couples who died still wearing life jackets to stay together, and students whose fingers were broken from desperately trying to escape. You might face a similar fate. However, if there is still air around you, do not give up hope. There have been multiple cases of people surviving from such situations. For instance, in 2013, a man survived for 3 days inside a sunken ship off the coast of Nigeria due to an air pocket. This man managed to survive for 3 days but would not have lasted much longer without rescue due to carbon dioxide buildup. In this accident, the sunken ship was at a relatively shallow depth of about 100 feet, which was fortunate. Deep water makes it harder for rescue teams to reach you, and both during and after the rescue, survival is extremely difficult if the water is deep. If you are lucky enough to be rescued, you need to rise to the surface as quickly as possible. However, wait a moment. Rapid ascent can cause bubbles to form in your blood vessels and tissues due to dissolved gases, which can be fatal. This phenomenon is known as decompression sickness in diving, and you need to ascend cautiously even if rescued. What if the ship sinks into the deep sea like the Titanic? In that case, the water pressure around you will keep increasing while there is still air in your compartment. If a body not designed to withstand water pressure dives too deep, it will be crushed. Recall the Titan submersible accident in 2023. At a certain point, the hull could no longer withstand the pressure, and the compartment you are in would implode with a bang. In this scenario, your fate would be sealed. Lastly, let me briefly explain what actions to take if the ship you are on begins to sink. Generally, it is advisable to follow the crew's instructions. However, as seen in the Sewol Ferry and Costa Concordia incidents, it turned out that ignoring the onboard announcements and evacuating immediately was the better choice. Therefore, it is wise to familiarize yourself with the location of life jackets and escape routes beforehand. And remain calm enough to reach the deck in case of danger. In most cases, it is safer to stay on the ship rather than immediately getting into a lifeboat. Thus, following the crew's instructions is still recommended. At the very least, it is clear that jumping into the water without proper equipment should be avoided. Additionally, if the ship is indeed sinking, it is advisable to move away from the ship once you are in a lifeboat to avoid being pulled down with it. Traveling by ship has greatly benefited humanity since ancient times, but accidents involving ships still occur to this day. Unfortunately, humans cannot survive long underwater. Overestimating your abilities not only endangers you but can also harm those around you. When you board a ship, it might be good to keep the contents of this video in mind. Of course, don't forget to conduct your own research as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.